Last night I took 12 sunflower lecithin instead of 5, and I took 40 milligrams of lithium orotate instead of 30. My instructions say I can take 40 milligrams of lithium orotate for up to a month, so I might do that. And I took stuff and then I waited to get tired. I actually watched TV. I watched that show Touch until I got tired and then put it down and went to sleep. I never usually do that, but I'm thinking that I should wait until I'm really, really tired before I get into bed and not lay there. At least that's how I'm feeling. And then yesterday I turned off, or the day before, I turned off the notifications for Spire, meaning it no longer would buzz if I had a streak, and I think the buzzing might interrupt the streak. So if I have a 3-minute focus streak and then it buzzes, it stops the streak. I had like 20-minute focus streaks yesterday. So I'm not sure what that was about. Maybe because I was laying watching TV and I was focused on it. I don't know. That's something I don't usually do, but I think it does make a difference to not have the notification on there. And so I didn't have to take Zopiclone last night, and I took 1 trazodone and 1 1/4 of Benadryl. So tonight I'll try the same thing, and I'll try to take half a trazodone. And of course I took the 2 quetiapine. I wish I didn't have to be on that for much longer. So it's been kind of a blur. I think yesterday and the 2 days before I watched TV most of the day. I did yesterday for sure. And the day before. And I was thinking, oh no, this is the beginning of my months of my brain not being able to function well. But I tried to remove that sense of self-commentating on the current experience, because in a way that's part of what continues the self. Or so what I'm trying to say is there's the fact of laying around watching TV all day, but the self comes in and makes a problem out of that. And so I was wondering if the self making a problem out of that is part of what makes it a problem that continues. So last night I did end up getting up and going to a meetup, and it was interesting because I noticed that I really couldn't listen to what the audio was saying. And usually I experience myself as being able to listen, and I don't really miss a word anyone says. That's part of why I'm so sensitive, is because I hear everything. But I really noticed that my brain was wanting to go inward and sort of figure stuff out about my life and the past, and maybe what to do next in terms of, should I go back home or should I stay here longer? And noticing that Usually I don't get a chance to notice that, but by going to that group, I really noticed that. And then this morning I went to the group again, and I noticed that my ability to listen was improving, or I don't know if it was improving, but I was able to listen. I could hear that I was listening. And when that hearing sort of disappears and goes inward, I no longer can hear. But then when I notice that I am hearing outwardly, I notice that I was inward. So it's kind of a weird phenomenon. But that gave me the chance to notice how my brain being inward and trying to figure stuff out about my life as a self, past, present, future continuity, is sort of what was giving my brain the state of low energy. It's part of it. So by going with watching TV and not adding another layer to it of not only feeling bad inside, so watching TV as a result, as sort of an outer manifestation, as a behavior of that, by not adding the commentary of I don't like that I have low energy and I'm watching TV because I'm in a state where I'm not feeling energetic and so I can't really move. So those are like 3 layers right there. So by removing those layers, today I went to those groups most of the day, but I do feel like I have more energy. Like I don't feel like I have to go back right now and watch TV. So yeah, not making a problem out of it. Oh, what's that? What is that? Looks like a tadpole. Let's see. Yep, it's alive. It has a stick in its mouth. I wonder if it's hurt. And last night, I again didn't take a Zopiclone, which is good. And I took 12 sunflower lecithin and I took 40 milligrams of lithium orotate. Tonight, I might try taking a quarter of a trazodone, or maybe none. Because if I'm able to take none and take more sunflower lecithin, then I could go back on the St. John's wort and the tryptophan, because those don't mix with SSRIs. So I haven't been on those supplements in probably a month. I'm not sure. And then today, that's something I did different, which was I took 1,000 milligrams of tyrosine. I think having the depression show up a little bit, or the low energy, gives me the opportunity to see if the tyrosine can mitigate that, and if it doesn't cause too much in the way of sleeping problems. So tonight will be the test of, if I take 1,000 milligrams of tyrosine, will that prevent me from sleeping at night? And then, so this is something I forgot to do, or I didn't know to do, was up the sunflower lecithin to that much. Maybe if I knew that when I had that weird crisis-y thing about a month ago, then maybe I could have taken way more of that. Though that voice did speak to me and said, you've taken too many supplements, you need to medicate yourself. I did try to take more supplements, it didn't help. So I think the medications do have a place, but it would be nice to get that place down to next to nothing. I do want to kind of get off these antipsychotics. I don't know if it's possible, we'll see. Because being on them too long could really warp my brain. But maybe my brain needs to be warped, I don't know. And so yeah, being able to navigate with these supplements and make it so it's not that bad. Because I know there's some programs out there, or a program at least, where they say be able to function in all states. Like when you're feeling awful, when you're feeling like you're in pain, like totally depressed or totally manic, and all the different levels in between. But what if one could get rid of having to feel that intense pain? In order to do that, we need to surrender the intense joy, which that's the hard part to do, perhaps. And so people can learn to practice being able to function in all different states. But it'd be nice to, instead of learning how to function in all these states, learn which vitamins to take to be able to calm down, to be able to function, instead of working against the gravity of these states. And then also being okay with some of it coming out that's not the greatest, because we're so wanting to be continuous and consistent. And that's one of the problems, is that we're not consistent, at least with this type of propensity of brain. And not adding that layer of judgment and trying to make it consistent on there could be something. And I am having a bit of a sense of this energy happening lately that might force me to do something harmful to myself. I don't think to others, but it was there just a little bit, just a tiny bit. And I don't know why I'm afraid of it when I've experienced that a lot before, but it's mainly been, well, it's always towards myself, it's not towards others. Except for maybe yelling at some people sometimes, but not like physical harm. But I felt this energy trying to take me over and maybe create physical harm. So I don't know what that's about, but I think it's part of this, I think it's part of a trick. I think once one gets close to learning how to navigate in these powerfully energetic states, there's some energy that wants to come in to destroy that. There's an energy that wants to come in and whatever body that's manifesting in, destroy that body. Whether it's through suicide, whether it's through acting out some kind of violence, so then one gets into the criminal justice system. And so I don't know what that's about, but it felt really intense, and it made me feel like, oh, I might need that zap strap. But then it'd be hard not to convince people to take me to the psych ward or something. So I don't know what that's about, but I gotta watch that. And also, oh, I think a bird just ate something out of the little lake. So getting executive functioning back a little bit would be good, and if I'm able to boost dopamine and able to do that, I know a long time ago I used to talk about how dopamine's not good in a way, but we do kind of need it. Oh, little birdie! We do need it for sure, but I think part of it would be not to drive pleasure from the functioning. That's another level. Like, one can function and then one can seek reward in how one functions, and that could be part of what's not good. But there was something else too. I do think I need to talk to myself more, and that's one of the reasons why I might want to go home, is because I have good Wi-Fi and it's easier to talk to myself lots and do that. But I think I want to start showing more the discontinuity. And it's not like, oh, because I've been not showing some of the discontinuity. I have, but there hasn't been as much. But if I choose to taper off the antipsychotics and also rely more on the daily use of these supplements, there is discontinuity. Like, there's no self there, and part of how we manifest is depending on what biomolecules are in our system. And it seems that I need to take high doses of certain biomolecules in order to manifest as being okay with the status quo, like to remain calm and things like that. And that's fine. And there's also, in understanding some of these experiences, that this physical body isn't that real, and there's multiple layers. I think I went through a time warp recently, and man, it was weird. So I think if, say, I died in this physical manifestation, I'd probably wake up from a dream and then go on, and that might actually lead to a better trajectory of life. So I have this feeling like I'm trying to keep myself alive, and it's really hard. And I'm trying to keep myself alive for the sake of others who probably want me alive. And I think that's a conversation I need to have. I think I need to say, it's really hard to keep myself alive. And I'm doing it a lot for your sake, because I'm pretty sure if I ended my life, it wouldn't be over. It would just be over for you experiencing me. But then maybe if I'm okay with the discontinuity, being okay manifesting as a bitch in some situations, that at least those people still get to experience me. Because if I decided, okay, I'm done with this experience, they wouldn't get to experience me, and I'm not really attached to whether I'm here or not. So that could be one of the reasons why the body's trying to destroy itself, because it knows there's another level of reality, and if it can destroy this one for real, for good, it won't have to keep coming back and manifesting so inconsistently. But I don't know if it's destroying the body or destroying those elements that contrive the body in those scenarios. So I don't know. I can't necessarily believe anything. I don't want to believe those things, because that could be part of the trap of trying to end this existence. So to believe that definitely there would be a continuance of some kind could be a trap, could be part of the trap. But then the thing is that I'm talking about discontinuity. There is no continuity. So even death is part of the discontinuity. So even in the life that I experience, it's not continuous, and it's not all the same thing. It's not. I manifest in certain ways around certain people, and I'm wondering if not having to be in those scenarios would lead it to being more comfortable and continuous, because I'm uncomfortable in those scenarios. Because certain people want me to function in a certain way, and I know that I can't right now. And I can't prove that beforehand. I need what I need, or I will check out. Enough about that. The show that I'm watching, Touch, which is about an autistic boy who communicates with his dad through numbers, and when his dad follows the numbers, he helps to heal some kind of relationship between people, or people connect because he was there and he's able to connect them, and all these different things unfold. And the reason he does it, because if he doesn't, his son will experience pain. And his son doesn't speak in the show yet. But what's interesting to me is that I just started watching this show, but I've been talking about this very phenomenon that they are making into a show, into entertainment, which I think is real. Not that all kids would communicate the way this kid is on the show, but they're experiencing the pain of the world, and that's why their brains aren't flowering and working. Because there's so much pain in the world, and it's adding up so much that there's just this cloud of darkness that the human brain can't flower out of anymore in the same way. So the degeneration of the brain is only going to get worse and worse and worse. And there's going to be more and more children like this. They're not even going to be able to communicate. And the solution is partly what's said in the show. They're there to teach us that the world, the whole design of the world is wrong, and it's creating a wrong energy, and now the generations of children are being affected. And it's not a Newtonian effect. It's an effect in the field, in the morphogenetic field, in the quantum field, whatever you want to call it. It's making it impossible. So quantum physics is something about possibility. It's making it impossible for kids to flower and grow and develop because of the whole field of the world. Not the genetics of the parents, or, even vaccines to a certain extent, though that causing part of the damage is what changes the field. If we're going to damage children in this way, they're going to be in pain and agony and screaming. They're screaming for the whole world, not for themselves. What have they gone through? They don't have a personal history to scream about. But it's the whole of humanity. And they are showing us that. So it's interesting that they created a show like this. We have to learn from them. If we learn that they're hypersensitive to things, we have to change the environment. It's not loving enough. It's not enough anymore for more human beings to want to manifest on this planet. So it's interesting that they make a show out of that. Like, they make a show out of a lot of phenomena that have truth to it. These producers are basically saying that we know that the pain of the world and things aren't separate is what's part of what is leading to children manifesting that way. And it happens around the time when they should start to develop an ego, and they're refusing the ego. They're refusing the ego way of functioning, and they're kicking and screaming, and they're demanding a different way of functioning based on love. The ego is not based on love. The whole world needs to be based on love. So to me, I sometimes don't like it when they turn truth into entertainment, and then we think that it's just entertainment and it's not really how it works. If we saw the implication of how the father is loving his child unconditionally, including not needing him to speak, learning from the child, following the child, there's a lot of truth in that. But we, again, try to program kids to be the way we want them to, not the way they're born. And it points to something else that I was saying too, which was they have capacities beyond what we are seeing, but since we squash them into our mold, that's not going to happen. It's not going to be able to flower. So yeah, that's sometimes why I can't watch TV. It's because a lot of those phenomena that they create as this mysterious, magical, out there entertainment is partly how the world can work and could work. You know, the more of the pain that we healed between people, the less trouble would manifest, because it all is in the field. And then it makes me wonder, if I tried to correct certain things, if that would have an effect. I don't know how to correct certain things, but it does make me want to do the whole wander with love thing. Sometimes I do that. I go into a space where I drop quarters on the ground so people pick them up and feel lucky. And it's not much, but it really doesn't take much for people to feel that magic and mystery and warmth and love. And so getting people to feel that without even seeing the result would be really cool. So I might do that, because my brain, it just can't work in terms of linear functioning. So if I move based on possibility, perhaps things would be different. And I say that, and I've said that in the past, and I am kind of doing that, but right now I'm trying to isolate the factors that cause some of this manifestation of trouble for oneself. And it's feeling like I'm learning a lot, but it feels selfish. It still is something that is for the comfort of the self. So I do feel I will get to a point when I've learned to navigate this to some extent, where I need to sort of let go and go into the world of possibility, which has nothing to do with the world of the self, and then use the supplements to help me sleep and navigate. And yeah, so that show is inspiring me to go into magic a bit. And if my brain is able to function with the tyrosine, then hopefully I will be able to do that. But it's hard to keep myself alive, and right now it's about keeping myself alive long enough to figure out how to function, how to navigate, how to be discontinuous, though it's not how, because that's kind of how it is. See how it goes. And the other thing, I'm considering going fruitarian after I run out of cooked food. I don't usually force myself to do things, and I don't know if I'm going to force that, but I think eating only fruit would turn me into a fruit. Like a happy, fluid person. And it's not anything that's going to take energy away from me. So that might be helpful in maintaining energy levels. So we'll see.